For the video, we have this model keyring we're going to build in Fusion. So we're going to start off. And how do we start any part in Fusion? What was the default way we want to start things?
You're going to make a sketch?
Yep, we always start with a sketch. You can build three-dimensionally first, but that's not how I work. I find it harder in a lot of ways. And it's hard to make really specific things. So I'm going to build, I'm working towards the front, so I'm going to pick this plane over here. So I'm looking at the front of my key. If you start in a different plane, it doesn't matter. It's a three-dimensional object. No matter what direction we put it, it's going to be fine. It's just going to change which orientation shows up in the 3D printer or whatever one's ready to go. So now under Create, we have a couple options for rectangles. We have the standard 2-point rectangle, which does the corners. We have a 3-point draw one side and extend out, or we have a center rectangle. If I go back to my drawing, I'm going to switch my color. I make this pen smaller. If you look at my thing, really, all my features are kind of built around the center, around this center point. So if I use a center point square, it's going to make my life way easier. Does everyone see why that would be? It means when I do my circle, in my mouth, in my eyes, everything's sort of based around that center origin. So we're going to pick the 2-point center rectangle. I'm going to start on the origin, and I'm going to drag out and click again. I'm not going to worry about the size or dimension. I'll dimension it after the fact. I don't like looking at the dimension I'm drawing. I find it distracting, and I'd rather work at shapes than specifics.
Hey, Chris.
Yep.
I have a question.
Of course.
Well, maybe I figured. Maybe I know. You went from the center point. The last class, you went from the center point outward, so the cube was kind of attached in a corner.
Yep.
So, what's the difference?
The first time we used the line tool to, we built with the line tool, and I started the origin and drew our shape this way. Now,
yep.
A square is a square is a square, but remember when we drew our circle, we had to place the center hole on the thing. We had to dimension where that hole goes. If I build from the origin, I can use that origin to build other features. Because my circle is centered on the origin, if I keep my origin in the center of my shape, everything's going to be less annoying.
Got it.
Chris, which of the 3 choices of rectangles did you choose again? I'm sorry.
I wanted the center point rectangle.
Okay.
The center rectangle. We just lost Doug. All right. I'm just going to drag out. I'm not going to worry too much about the. Get back. By keeping myself in my center point, center shape, I can use that for later features. Now, before I put dimensions here, I actually want to because I know I want a square keyring, I'm going to use the equals constraint to say this top side is equal to this left side. I could also do the top to the right, or I could do the top to, or the bottom to the right, or bottom to the left. It doesn't really matter. But now, if I hit escape and try to drag it, it's always going to stay square. If I move too fast, just yell at me, make sure. It's hard to tell or if people are still working, or I don't want you guys waiting for me. All right, we're now going to set our dimensions. And I'm just going to grab the top, and I'm going to dimension that way. It doesn't really matter. 1.5. And notice as soon as I put one dimension on it, it turned black. Why did it turn black with only one dimension? What does black mean?
That you are constrained.
Yep, that is the shape it is. It has to be that shape. That's the only shape it can be. And because I use a rectangle, and I said the top and the side are equal to each other, as soon as I set one side dimension, it has to be that shape. There's no other shape that could be. So now that I have my square and it's locked in place, I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go look at it three-dimensionally so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to extrude. And I'm going to extrude it 0.1. We'll go 0.25. An eighth inch. Any questions or anything? And it's much easier to help you one step than helping you 4 or 5 steps. So if you get stuck on a step, don't try to like, oh, you'll catch up. Because everything we do depends on the previous step, you just fall farther and farther behind. It's easier to help you first.
You made your keychains 3 inches wide?
Nope, 1.5 inches.
Okay. Is there a way I can change my dimensions once I've made it a 3D thing?
Yes, you can. All right, let's talk about that right now, actually. So one of the tools I didn't talk about before is the timeline. On the bottom of the screen, we have every step we do recorded down here. And we can go back in time and change things, sort of like Back to the Future. Downside is occasionally we break things, we end up in Biff Tannen world. So be careful of it because you can break things badly. But most of the time it's pretty safe. So we're going to double click on the sketch 1, and then I can double click on the dimension, and I can change that to whatever. And finish sketch, and it will update. So if I don't follow through this, but if I go, I want this to be 1.75. It will update, and that shape is now bigger. It's hard to tell because there's no point of view, but. We're ready to move forward?
I'm ready.
All right. So now we have our square. There's 2 ways we can go from here. There's 2 features we can work on. We could either do the face or do the keyring hole. Again, it doesn't matter which one I do. They're completely separate pieces. I typically do the face first, but you can do either one. I'm going to do the face. So let's start a sketch on the front of our slab. And this is where having ourselves based around the center makes our lives easier. So if I start my circle and start it on the origin, the center is already located. I don't have to locate the circle. I just have to size it. So now I'm going to take and dimension myself to 1 inch. And notice I just had to do 1 dimension. I didn't have to locate the center point of that circle. I didn't have to fight with it. It just places it's locked without the dimension. If you didn't have it start in the center point, I didn't have to dimension the center to the side and the center to the top or bottom. And so say it was 1.5 divided by 2 or 0.75. I have to do all sorts of math and I'm lazy. I can just place it, and be done with it. So I'm going to finish sketch. I'm going to go back to a 3D mode, either clicking a corner, clicking the house, and we're going to extrude, and we're going to grab the circle, and we're going to go 1.25. Oh gosh, 0.125, 0.125. I'm going to click back on my extrusion in my timeline and say 0.125. But that's the nice thing about working in CAD is that I can go back and change stuff as I'm going. And 0.125 quarter inch or eighth of an inch is a good size for 3D printing. It's also a good size for laser cutting because you can get plywood in that value. So either if you're laser cutting or doing this for 3D printing, the sizing, picking nice, reasonable sizes makes your lives easier. So everyone has their
sketch somewhere along the way. Dude.
All right, can you share your screen quickly? Because I
had it, and then
Yeah.
Where's
In the meat on the bottom right hand corner, it says present, and then with screen, and then hit share. Even if you have one screen, you just tell it that screen. Pick the screen. Okay. Let's finish the sketch. Oh, you don't have the circle's not on there.
Yeah, I drew it and it was there, and now it's disappeared.
Oh,
Did
okay.
Any chance it's on the flip side?
That's the only thing I can think of. Let's double click on the sketch 2 so we can take a look at the sketch on the bottom. Yeah, sketch 2 there. That works too. And let's just double click on it so you're editing it, and just draw the circle again. I wonder if you somehow dimension, and a hotkey for dimension is D. Click on the outside of the circle. Click again. 1. Enter. No, 1. Finish sketch. I wonder if it got dimension to 0 somehow. That's the other possibility. Is it went to 0? As I said in the first class, Fusion 360 is my tertiary CAD software. It is I reach for Inventor by default, which is Fusion's big brother. And then, okay, we're gonna click the extrude button up top. It's next to the sketch button. Click on the circle, and then type 1.125.
in here?
Yep. You can actually type it there or in the little pop-up in the net just to the corner of it. Either one does it.
Correct.
All right. Yeah, so occasionally Fusion will catch me off guard because it's not the one I use all the time, but it's the most convenient for hobbyists. All right. So we have our phrase. We're doing good time-wise, so let's make this a little fancier. We're going to make our eye so that they are domes instead of just cylinders. So what's our next step? What do we have to do before we start drawing the eyes? If you want to create a feature, just start a sketch. Basically, sketch 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D, 2D, 3D every time. I'm going to start with a line, and I'm just going. So for reference, I'm going to draw just this left eye, and then we're going to mirror to get the right eye. So we're going to draw like a half circle. So I'm going to start by just drawing a vertical line. I don't worry about the size. I'm just placing it. I'm going to draw it, then hit escape to make sure I'm not in the pencil anymore. So just a line right now. Now I'm going to go to the arc tool and go to the 3-point arc. Just create arc, 3-point arc. And I'm going to click on the top of the line, the bottom of the line, and then drag out. Let me do that again just so you can see that. Create arc, 3-point arc. Click on the top, click on the bottom, and then drag out and not worry about it too much. Arc, 3-point arc, top, bottom, drag. It doesn't matter if you left or right. We're going to fix this guy as we go. So I'm going to hit escape to make sure that's cool. I want to actually demonstrate something. 1, 2. Okay. So, first thing I need to do is if I didn't by default, and I found that it kind of wants to, I want to put this point on this line. So we're going to do a lot more constraints this project than we did with the practice cube. In this case, we want what's called a coincidence. I want this point happen to be on this line. It just happen to happen, so it's a coincidence. So this point on this line. That'll give me an exact half circle. It also locks the center point of that thing and turns it black because that center point is now constrained. So I should have a nice orange wedge right now. Half circle. Now we need to start throwing some dimensions.
Can you just do that one more time? I missed how
Of
to.
course. No, that's fine. So I will go back. So create arc, 3-point arc. Click on the top, click on the bottom, click somewhere. This white dot is the center point for the arc. I'm going to use coincident that this dot happens to run into this line. And the dot should turn black. And hit escape to make sure we're outside that tool as soon as I'm done. I always just escape whenever you're done with anything because you don't want to be in a tool and then have it do stuff to you. Because I've had it, all of a sudden start string lines and go on to or blocking things together. So I go to back to my drink. These circles look like they're almost a square. So maybe we'll go, so I'm going to dimension. I'm going to click on line. I'm going to set this guy to be 0.2. So not quite, but almost a whole square. If we don't like it, we'll change it later. But now we're going to dimension from this line to the origin. And I'm going to go 0.2 also. You might find it look funny. If it does, we can always fix it. Now, it's not all the way black, and I'm not quite sure why. I actually am, but I want to test it, so I'm going to hit escape, and I'm going to grab onto it and just see where I can move it. And hey, I can still move it up and down, so that means I still tell it where this is vertically. So I'm going to throw a third dimension here. I'm going to grab the bottom point of this point, and the origin. So let's do it again. Dimension, I'm going to helping me. With the bottom point and the center origin, I'm going to drag straight over this way, and I'm going to go 0.1. Again, it might look funny, but I can always adjust it later. So there's a bunch of dimensions on there. Is there a way to... Hold on a second. I'm just... Fusion's gonna be angry at me for a second. Oh god. Fusion's very angry at me. Is that easier to read? Okay. For some reason, I never thought of changing my screen scaling when I'm doing these, but I should. All right. So now we have our half circle. Does anyone need help? Why is Inventor opening? Go away. All right. Anyone need help or need more time?
I'm not entirely sure where I fell off. I do have an eyeball. I'm having issues with doing the dimensioning right.
All right. Do you want help? If you do, just share your screen. I'll gladly.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. That looks good. That's
I think when I go to dimension stuff, I seem to be having issues, like I'm clicking it in the wrong order, or
all right. Let's take and hold on, I need to biggen. And that's what. Okay. So, can you take and let's do it. Let's take and that's fine. That's so. Let's delete that 0.2 dimension because the 0.1's fine because it's. So just
what
click
do
on
you
it
do?
and
Like
then hit.
right click? Would that work?
No, just hit. Well, that right click, delete, or you can just hit delete key on your keyboard and we'll delete it. Or
Okay.
backspace.
Huh.
There we go. All right. So let's click on the side of the circle. You're in dimension mode. Yep. Click on the side of the half circle, the line part, the vertical line of
Okay.
the.
Is
Hit escape.
Control Z going to work?
Just hit escape. Just hit escape.
Okay.
Escape. All right. Go back to your dimension tool. And click on the line. So we want to click on the vertical line portion of the circle. And we're going to click on the origin now. And now go move your mouse up and down. Yep. Click. Good. Just click. Okay. Let's make that 0.2. All right. And now let's do the bottom corner of your half circle. Click there. Now click on the origin. And now you move your mouse to the left or right. No, we want to move it left or right of the thing. And you want to make sure you're above the origin but below the point of the thing. Yep. Move it down a little bit more. Yeah, right there. Click. Yeah, 0.1. So what's happening, and I can show you on my screen. So let me resume presenting for now. All right. So what's happening? I'll just mention here is Fusion is trying to help you, and I find every time it tries to help you, it often makes things worse. So it's trying to guess: do you want a horizontal, a direct, or vertical dimension? And based on where my mouse is, it's going to change the direction of the dimension. And these are all different numbers. You know, this is 0.2, this is 0.224, this one's 0.1. And it depends on which way you're laying your ruler. So you need to be careful which way you're dragging your mouse. And the trick is to always drag your mouse directly perpendicular to the way you want to measure. Sort of like pulling your tape measure. Read your lines perpendicular to the direction you're looking at. Does that make sense? Like if I have a thing, I put my tape measure, I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to read a line going this way.
Okay.
So that's what was happening, is that Fusion was helping you, and it wasn't actually helping you. All right. So we have our half circle. Is everyone ready to move forward? All right. I'm going to finish the sketch. And this time, instead of extrude, we're going to click revolve. Now we need two things for revolution. I need to have who are we revolving, which is the half circle. And then I need to tell it what the axis is. So I'm going to click down on axis. And I'm going to click on the line part of my eyeball. And I'm going to say join. I'm going to make the eyes stick out. Love bug eyes. Okay. Escape. And I'm going to do it again. Revolve. Who do I want to revolve? This half circle. Which way do I revolve about? This line right here. And I want to make it a join. I could put it out to make dish eyes. Either one works. Both work well for 3D printing, although they will not look great if you don't have your resolution set higher. You have like a stepping effect, which you probably talked about in your 3D printing course, I hope. Have my one-eyed smiley face right now. Oh.
That's
Now we
really
want our-
wicked.
Now we don't want. Now we want our eyes to be symmetrical. I could go and start our sketch and another thing and dimension it and all that stuff, but that's awful. Why would I do that? There's a tool to do this. Under create, we're gonna look down, and we're gonna look for
Sorry,
mirror.
I keep losing mine when I do things.
That's okay.
I had the half circle. I did what you did,
Yep.
and then I lose them every time.
Okay,
What
go.
are you doing?
Let me share your screen, and I want to watch you do it because I need to see where. And then we're gonna hit Control
Must be
Z.
hitting something.
Let's hit Control Z and see if it undoes itself. If you.
All right, I'm sharing.
Okay, hit Control
Okay,
Z.
so I had my
Just hit Control Z. I
Control
want to see. Haha! You did do something. I don't know what you did, but you did something. Good, good, good. Now hit Revolve.
Revolve. Okay, that was in create.
Okay,
Revolve.
so good news. You're not crazy.
Something weird, I guess.
Yep. So you need to. So you're gonna select the axis. You need to click on the line part of the half circle. Yep. And we're gonna go down to the bottom where it says cut and change that to join. Okay. Double click on the extrusion 3 at the end.
And this.
Nope. On the very bottom on your timeline, there's a blue thingy. The last one. Double click on him. Double click. Okay. Click on the heck. Okay. Click where it says the first one. First selecting your half circle. Click. Good. And I'll go back to the axis.
Oh, then click on this.
Yep. And then click on the line. Something's weird. All right. Pin this. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to Control Z to undo this whole thing. I will undo it so we still have the half circle. Undo. Control Z again. Okay. Let's hit Revolve again. Yep. Hit the Revolve. Go up to the top. Yep. There, up above it. All right. And we're gonna click on the half circle. Yep. And then you're gonna click on the edge of the thing. Yep. Good. And hit OK. Let's see what the cut does. I just want to see. Do we get a dish? Huh. Very interesting. Very interesting.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Sorry,
Yep,
everyone.
No, that's fine. Let's go back. Let's undo again. Control Z. I see it. I see it. So I need to hold on 1 second. I need to see how to fix. So your sketch, you did your sketch on the rectangle, not the circle. So I'm just trying to figure out how to redefine. Yep. So I'm just trying. So hold on 1 second. I'm just trying to remember, see how to change redefine a sketch. No.
Oh, yeah.
How do I edit a sketch? Do.
Do you just want me to redraw it on the circle?
Yeah, let's do that. I can look next time. So there's got to be a way to do it because I can't imagine Fusion won't have a way to redefine where the sketch is, but I don't know where they put that button. Yep. Yep, back up. One, keep going. Control Z. Now start your sketch.
On the circle.
Yes. And the reason, there you go. And notice you can now see the grid on top. Their graph paper is on top of the circle, not just there. So vertical line quickly. Yep. 3 point, hit escape. Okay. Great. Arc. 3 point arc. Top. Bottom. Click. Coincident. Yep. Click on the center point too. Dimension. This is the D key. Or click on it. Click on the line. Yep. Click. Drag out. Click. Point 2. Now click on that. Yep. Click on there. Click on the origin. Yep. Click.
That was point 1.
Yep. And now one more, the line to the origin and go up. Click. Point 2.
2.
Yep. Now finish sketch. Revolve. Click on the circle. Click on the axis. Select axis. Yep. And go. Yep. Click on the line. And now change that to join. Hit OK. And the reason it disappeared was because you were drawing a circle inside the 3D object. So you couldn't see the circle. If you had cut it and then we 3D printed it, you would have had a spherical void where the eye was. And that's what was causing weird problems. It's okay. I will definitely research to how to redefine a sketch for next time. All right, so now we have our single eye. We're going to take and we're going to mirror this so we don't have to do it twice. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resume presentation. And then I'm going to expand my origin so I can see all my things over here. So that's the first thing I want to do is I want to click the little arrow next to the origin so I can see all my things. I'm then going to go down to create. I'm going to go all the way down to mirror. And the first thing I want to do is I want to mirror a feature. That feature is this revolve. And I'll do this twice. So don't worry if you miss that. Mirror plane. I'm going to select that plane there and hit OK. Okay. Create all in mirror. Who do I want to mirror? This circle. And it figured it out when I clicked on the circle. Mirror plane, select that one there, the YZ plane. Hit OK. Boom, 2 eyes. One more time. Mirror plane, mirror. That sphere, or I can click on here. Mirror plane, I can select, I can mouse over them here. That one, hit OK.
What was the last one where it said adjust?
Oh, don't just leave it. Not sure what that does.
Features, object.
Yeah, I don't compute option. I don't. Yeah, I just got default. I'm not sure. That's probably a buried feature in Inventor. I just never had to use it, so it probably matters if the eye wasn't symmetrical. Do you want it to be mirrored or do you want it to be repeated twice? Like if your eye had a pupil, would you want the eyes both like cross-eyed or pointing like the same direction? I think is what that controls. I'd have to play with it, but I want to get most of our smiley face done. So, okay. There we go. All right, so we have some eyes on our face. Now, the last thing I'm going to do, or we have two more things left. So we're going to start a sketch, and this time we want to put. So we're going to do our smiley face. Again, we want to make sure we select the circle. If we don't select the circle, the smiley face will be inside the thing. You won't be able to see it, as we have demonstrated Jared's thing. And we have a couple options for smiley face. So I'm going to do the first part here, and then we'll leave you a couple options you can do for the second. I'm going to start with a arc. My favorite 3-point arc. Actually, no, I lied. I'm going to do arc. I'm going to do center point arc. I'm going to select the origin, and I'm going to start somewhere over here and swing around till I'm somewhere over here. I'm going to do that and do it again. So create arc, center point arc. I'm going to grab the center here and go and right there. Also go left to right to left. So arc, center point arc. Select one. From here, go click. Now, at this point, there's a couple things I could do. I could do a really simple one where I draw a line across here. I could do something a little fancier. I could do a second arc between the two. I can make a 3-point arc between them, but I'm just doing a simple one. I'm going to take a line. I'm going to draw a line from this point to this point. If you want to try to get fancy, you could do arc, 3-point arc from here to here, and then like that. I'm going to do a little one because simple's good right now. Now, we still have to lock this in place. The first thing I want to do is I could make my thing sort of slanted. I want my face to be sort of be straight. So I'm going to I'm going to grab the horizontal vertical constraint right here. I'm going to click on this line. The horizontal vertical line. It's going to make it go. It's going to guess which you want it, which in this case I want to do horizontal, and it guessed correctly. Now we just need to dimension it. And we're just going to pick dimensions. If you want a bigger smile, make it bigger. If you want a smaller smile, make it smaller. I'm going to make mine 0.75. I'm going to have a really big smile. So that's how big across. The other thing I need to control is how wide the thing is. I can do it a couple different ways. The easiest is probably doing the dimension from the nose, the center point, the origin, to this line, and doing like 0.1. Dimension from the origin to this top line. That's 0.1. Anyone need help with anything on there? A little easier. All right, if it's all black, I'm going to finish my sketch. And this time I'm going to simply extrude. Select the space. I'm going to go operation, cut. And I want to go 0.1. Make sure it's pointed the right way. So extrude. I'm going to grab the arrow, make sure it's going the right way because apparently Fusion looks seeing that better. And 0.1 looks good. Now this is on a slightly different plane than this is. So did your 3D printing class talk about pause printing?
Did it what, Chris?
Did your 3D printing class talk about pause printing?
Pause printing. Possibly.
Where you took and you can change the color of the filament. You can print for a while. So I can print from here to here. Well, it's really gonna be like that because I'm gonna print it that way. From here to here in one color. I can then pause the printer, unload filament, and change to a different color. And I can print up to the back of the mouth another color. Like maybe I want the background to be the whole background of this thing to be white. So I print white, then unload the white, and then I load black for a short period of time for the back of the mouth. Then I would pause again when I get above the top of the mouth and switch to yellow, print for yellow, and then I can pause again and make the eyes white again. So I can get multiple color prints out of a standard printer by just pausing and loading as long as all my features are on different Z heights. And my smiley face would have a black line around the back edge, but it would look fine. And I'll even run that print on between this class and next class. I'll run up that 3D print for you guys so you can see it.
Hey, Chris, when you talk about
Yeah.
pause, are you talking manually stopping it, or are you talking having the software or the slicer stop it for you at a certain
Depends on
point?
the slicer. Some slicers are smart enough to let you do it. I use Prusa's slicer, which is based on SLI 3ER, which can do pause printing. I believe Keyring can also do pause printing and automatically set pauses into the prints. MakerBoyer was not smart enough, so I'd have to babysit the printer and pause the printer and manually unload the filament. It could go either way. But I prefer my Prusa with the multicolor attachment where I can actually make it just automatically change the colors between the prints. And you can get some really good shape model things out of a pause print. And if you're printing a whole bunch of them, it's not that big of overhead because you're only changing it once per all of them. So if I was printing like 10 of these, each of them would print white for a while, stop, unload, load black, print black for a while, pause, unload, load yellow, pause, go for a while, and you could print the whole thing as that way. All right, so we have
Chris,
one more.
one of the Spaces printers is a cutie with that'll hold 2 filament spools at the same time. But
Yep.
I've personally never switched back and forth between the two.
And depends upon their slicer software. You might be able to make it change colors at pause. I don't know I only know my printers. I can figure that printer out very quickly. I have a lot of experience with printers, but I don't know their slicing software and the capabilities without looking at it. I can show you how guys to make a multicolored print. We'll cover that next class for the cutie. And typically what you do is you end up with 2 separate models. But let's finish this guy off quickly. So back to my original drawing. Last thing I do is put my keyring hole in. So we're going to do that. So in this case, where do I want to start my sketch? So I want on my face, on my smile, on the eye. I want to make sure this time I select the rectangle.
Can I stop you 1 minute, Chris? I didn't execute my
course.
smile yet because I can't figure out how to reverse the arrow.
The easiest way is you either put a negative number in for distance, or you
Okay,
can grab the arrow and drag it.
there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you can also grab the arrow and drag it. I don't typically do that because that's not the way I think. Because I'm used to older tools that didn't have like just grab it, move it. But all right, so we're gonna start our sketch on the rectangle. I'm gonna draw a circle, just kind of in the corner. I don't worry about the size or location, just as long as it's not affecting anything. Now we're going to take and locate and dimension this. So I'm going to start by locating this. And this is something we didn't have to do with the big circle because we drew in the center. This time I have to actually locate it. So I'm going to dimension. I'm going to go from this point here to this point here. And I'm going to go 0.15. And I'm going to go from the top to the center point and pull straight across and do 0.15. And then the dimension for the circle is going to be 0.125, which is an eighth of an inch. That's available for a keyring. Staying easier, right? Just drawing the shape wasn't too bad. All right. I want to make sure I finish up by 7, so I'm going to finish this sketch. And of course, I'm going to share this model with you, and the video will be posted as soon as it finishes rendering. So I will have that. So you'll have that. So I'm going to take, and we're going to extrude. I'm going to click the circle. I'm going to say that I want it to be cut. And I want to go all. And it figured it out for me which way to go. So I'm going to make sure I say all. I'm going to hit enter. And now I have a hole in my thing. So at this point, I want to show you how to export this for 3D printing. So I'm going to save this as smile. And my last step is I'm going to hit export. And the type of export we want is an STL file. So it's under the file menu. Export. STL. And it's going to render it. Apparently it has to do a cloud thing, which is surprising, but that's fine. Oh, I really can't do anything else. While I'm thinking, I'm going to open up my Slicer software. So I'm using Prusa Slicer because I have a Prusa, so that's what I use because I've been happy with them. They're a great printer. The only downside is the Prusa MK3 is a kit, so it does take a little bit to build it. Like 8 hours of assembly work. I'm going to set myself up for the multicolor printer because under that, I'm going to load white into one. This part, of course, is printer specific, so don't worry about the too much. I just want to show you what I was talking about with the multicolor printing. I'm going to put yellow into 3. Of course, it's going to take forever and a day for it to export. Wow. I'm not used to exporting taking this long. All right. So I will, even if we finish up, I'll finish the video with showing you the exporting to show you what it looks like, and then I'll 3D print that for next class. Would be a good thing to do for homework is draw up a simple keyring. It could be as simple as have your name. There's a text tool, which we didn't talk about. But draw up a simple keyring and try to make it. If you need help along the way, if you have questions, email me. I'm more than happy to answer questions outside of class time. If you generate an STL file, if you send it to me, I will gladly 3D print you some stuff because I have plenty of filament.
Hey, Chris, I'm not going to be able to make next week's class.
Okay.
But I will certainly be waiting for the video to come out so I can kind of finish up.
Perfect. And next class, we can either work on your own models. You can work on your key rings if you don't want to do it yourself. If you want to build something yourself. Or I can do a lesson on doing tracing with the spline tools and how to take an image and make a copy of it using Fusion. So I'll leave that up to you guys.
That sounds really cool.
What?
I said that sounds really cool.
It is. It's tedious. It's very tedious. I'm going to tell you up front, it's really tedious, but the results are awesome. I don't have it by 3D prints around here. way too smart having a useful 3D print here during my class. No. But yeah, so we can do either one. Again, I'll record it, and if you guys have questions or whatnot, it's there. If you end up making a interesting model like Keyring, let me know, and I'll print it out, and I can bring it by the makerspace for you.
Okay.
My printers are starting to wrap up for the year, and then after I should be taking my printers home on the 15th of June, and then I have all the printer time in the world because no one else uses them. So, I don't know why this is taking forever and a day for it to output the stupid STL file. It is unreasonably slow, but it's not complicated. If this was an actual class, I think my kids would have like rebelled at this point, exporting STL file because
I will take your word for it that it'll be done at some point.
Yeah. All right.
We're about to
Have
have
a
an
good.
overthrow in the class.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Have a
and
good day,
everybody.
guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye.
See you guys.
See you guys. Let's see if I can outrun the thing using Inventor. I'll move Fusion. Oh. This window over to my other screen. And I'm going to do the same thing in Fusion. Let's see how fast, or Inventor. Let's see how fast I can do it. Oh, I guess it's finished. It's actually finished before I can even start, so I guess it won. All right, so I finished and downloaded. I'm going to now take and go. It is in my. I drag that and I'm going to bring it into Fusion. I'm going to Fusion Slicer. And start with printing with filament 1. And I'm going to add some multicolors. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to the first layer that changes. I'm going to then add a color change to extruder 2. I'm going to go until the spiral finishes, which is right there. I'm going to add a change to extruder 3. To go up to the start. I'm going to add a change back to extruder 1 again. And then with a keyring, with some eyes, and it's multiple colors, just there. So I'm going to stop recording, and we're good.